Hi everyone, welcome to the first video in the series, which is all about teaching you how to create the front end of a website. Now, to be able to do that, there's two elements that you need to know to be able to construct it, the way it looks and what is on the website, and that is HTML and CSS. So what HTML does is basically it places the elements onto the website. So for example, in the website we're looking at now, which is the Digitech website, this element here, for example, would be placed onto the page using HTML. And then the font and the color of the text and the size of it and the border and all that sort of stuff would be styled by the CSS. Okay, so basically that's what you're going to be able to do. So hopefully by the end of this course you're able to put together a reasonably professional looking front end of a website. Okay, so let's get into it. So the first thing we need to do, and this is a one-off that we have to do right at the start, is to set up your coding environment. So what you'll need to be able to do is whenever you're producing code is you need a code editor. Now there are many of them available, but the one that is very common, most people use it, is one called Visual Studio Code. So you can click on the link here to go here, and it will take you to this site here, so code.visualstudio.com. And what you need to do is download that editor. So that might take a couple of minutes, so do that now. And once you download it, you'll be able to access. So I have a version of it open right now. I'm going to delete the files here. Okay. Now, once you have it open, what you'll have is, and you probably won't have anything here because you haven't created any files yet. But what you'll need to be able to do is, this is where you create your files. Now, before we do that, the other thing we need to do is add an extension. So the extension that we're going to add is called Live Server. Okay, and so if you search, click on the icon here and search for Live Server, it should come up. Now it should give you an install button. Mine doesn't have an install button because I've already got it on the extension uploaded, and you need to install that now. Now once you have that done, we're all ready to go. So what that extension does is that it allows you to see your code on a web browser. Okay, so the next step we need to do is we need to create our first file. So I'm going to click New File, okay, and it gives you a spot to be able to place your code. So I'm going to put my first code, okay, and then at the end of whatever name you choose to give it, you need to write the letters HTML. Okay, and click Return. And so what that will do is it will give you an area in which to place code. So this is basically how the code editor works. So what we're going to do today is we're going to have a look at some tags. Now the first one we're going to have a look at is a title tag. Now whenever you're putting, and this is the same for no matter what the tag is, you need to put a greater than symbol, and then the type of tag we're going to look at is a title tag. So if we do that and then close with the less than symbol, what happens is the back end of the code, the tag automatically appears. So basically this tells the computer what type of information is coming in the code. So in this case, it's a title, and basically once we've given that information, this part of the tag tells it that that is the end of the information. So whatever you type in here is what will appear as an element. So I'm going to put in my first website, okay, and that's how you just enter your text. Okay, so what we can then do is I'm going to save it. Now you can save it under the File button here with the save, but you see the shortcut is Control S. Just remember that, because that way you don't have to keep going back to the file menu. So I'm going to save it, so I've just hit Control S. Now the next step is we want to be able to now see this, what this is doing, by opening the document in a live server. Okay, so we're going to do that in a live server, and and up it opens, and what you'll see is there's nothing on the page, nothing at all, because what title does is it places the text of the name of the into the tab. So my first website is what that HTML tag has done. Okay. Now at this point, what I think is worthwhile doing is setting up to split your screen so you can see your code and then you can see what's happening. So the way to do that is, and I'm not sure how to do it on Macs, but on Windows computers, if you hold down the Windows key, so the one with the Windows symbol on it, and then hit the right cursor, that will push the browser to one side, and then if we click onto the editor, if we hold down the Windows key and go to the right, sorry, to the left, then we can see the coding area and we can see the website. Now, because there's this is in the way a bit, you can actually click on the button there to make your files disappear, so you've got more space to code. Okay, so that's pretty much the first one. So title is what just basically puts in the tab. Now, just a reminder is that all the code that we're going through here, when you're going to see it right here, is things that we're going to go through, and all the information is on the website below the video. So you'll be able to, don't worry too much about remembering the code, because all the information is going to be there. Now the second one I'm going to put in is a body. Okay. Now body code, if I put that in, doesn't do anything on the screen. Basically what it's there for is to tell HTML that we're going to put something on the screen that's going to appear. And this is something you'll see body come up a lot. So if I now save it and then update my screen by refreshing it, nothing happens because I haven't done anything. Now, body basically is there to hold all of the elements that are going to appear on the screen. So that's sort of coding convention. So the first one we might do to put some text actually on the thing is we're going to use a P tag. Okay, now P just stands for paragraph. Okay, and if we close our brackets, it creates the end tag at the end of it, and then we just need to put our text in. So and I can put in my first information or info, that'll do. And if I click Control S, it appears on the site. And sometimes, by the way, if it doesn't appear on your site, you sometimes need to click refresh. So once you've saved it and click refresh, it should come up. Okay, so that's basically how you would add text onto your screen. Now there are different types of tags that do also put text on, but also do slightly different functions. But for the moment, for what we're doing, that's okay. So that's how you might put something on a screen using paragraph tag or a P tag. Now, the second one we're going to have a look at is one called button. Okay. So button, as the name suggests, is going to put a button onto the screen. Now, if we want the button to have something written on it, so let's say we want a save button to appear, this text here is going to be the information that's going to appear on that button. So I hit save, up comes your save button, and that's how you would create a button. Now you can create many elements, things like text boxes and all that sort of stuff, which is something we'll do a little bit later. Now the next type that we're going to have a quick look at is an A tag. So an A tag is specifically for hyperlinks. Okay, so if we put an A tag down, and then we might put the text that's going to appear that we can click on to go to that link, that's what's going to appear. So if I start and I just put in click the link, okay, and I click Control S, what's happening right now is it's the P tag and the A tag are behaving exactly the same. I type in some text in the middle, put some text on the screen, but it doesn't do much else. But what the A tag also can do is, the reason it doesn't do anything at the moment is we haven't assigned we haven't actually assigned where the link is going. So to do that, what we're going to do is put in a property of this text. Okay, now when we're putting in properties, what we're actually doing is using CSS. Now CSS we'll do a lot more on in subsequent lessons, but just for today, this is effectively your first CSS. Now to tell it that you want, where you want um, the browser to be redirected, you need to use the command, so with a space, then href. Okay, and then if you put the equal sign, it automatically puts in the talking marks. So in the talking marks, we need to put the address in. So, whoops, I'm going to go to YouTube. So I go to YouTube now. So we go to YouTube, just a regular YouTube. Okay. What I can do is I can pick up the link. Now, if you just put in the www.youtube, it usually doesn't work. You need the HTTPS, which is why I did that. And then I can paste that in there. Okay, and that then assigns the tag here. So if we then update it with Control S, what happens is you now appears as a link. So the links that you commonly see on websites. So it has that underlining thing. And if I place my cursor above it, the cursor changes, which tells me that if I click the link, which I'll do now, that we can head off to YouTube. Okay, so that's how you would put a link onto a website. Okay, now I'm going to go back. Now one of the problems here, and this is another property, this is the default property of this type of tag, is that when we click the link, it takes this session here directly to YouTube. Now, in many cases, what you don't want to do is you don't want to have your user click away from your website. So one of the things that you can put in as a behavior or a property of this is that you can say, well, when they click the link, I want it to open in a new session so that my website remains up and available for the user. Okay, now the way that you do that is that we can put in a second property here, and I'm going to put in target. And what target basically means is we're going to open a new session. And the way that you do that is just underscore blank, I think it is. Okay, and then if we save it, Control S, okay, what happens is when we update it, make sure the site's updated, you see that now it opens in a new tab. So so what we have done here is we have put in some CSS properties. Okay, so CSS controls the properties, not always the appearance of the particular elements on a website. Okay, and sometimes the properties can be put in with the tag, or sometimes they can be put into a separate tag. Okay, so body. So if we wanted to put our styling, we wanted to take it out of here and place it into another location, which is what many programmers do. We could use the style tag, and what the style tag does is it's designed specifically to take CSS instruction. Okay, now and obviously we can apply this same property to these same properties to a button. So if I take these same properties here, so I don't have to retype them, and I put them into the button, what my button's now going to do is it's going to, if it saves and refresh it, is when I click on it, it should open. Oh, didn't work. It should open that website. Okay, so that's how you set properties. Okay, so what we'll be doing in the next lesson is essentially starting to look at a little bit more CSS. So this is just giving you enough information to be able to put something on a screen, and then we're going to start to teach you how to style in the next lesson. Now, to complete the lesson, what you should be doing is to make sure that you are under control with all this stuff, is at the end of the lesson there are 3 or 4 little exercises that you should be doing to make sure that you practice these skills yourself. And do make sure that you're being very religious about practicing the skills so that when we get to more difficult concepts, you've got a good basis in which to be able to tackle those concepts. All right, so we'll catch you next time. Cheers.